Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Power Rangers Season 2, Episode 40 of my show, but this is about Episode 38 of Season 2. Now, before I start talking about it, I just want to mention this. I checked that special 6-year anniversary video that I posted yesterday, and I just got a comment on it. So I just figured I'd mention it, and it makes me happy to find out about that now and stuff. And I am still gonna keep doing this for you guys as well because, well, it's something I like doing and stuff. But I just wanted to get off topic and mention that segment there. But now getting into the actual episode, this is History of Power Rangers Season 2, Episode 40 of my show. But this is about Episode 38 of Season 2. Now, Episode 38 in the original Power Rangers second season is known as A Real Fish Story. But one other thing before I actually get into the storyline of the actual episode. This is the last video I'm gonna do before the 2-part episode, Rangers Back in Time, which is gonna be followed by 2 3-part episodes after that. I stated that a couple of times in my previous videos before this. I just wanted to mention that now again, since this was the last video before that, and I will put that in the description for you guys as well. Now, getting into the actual storyline of the episode, the way this episode starts off is Rocky is being a volunteer lifeguard at the beach in Angel Grove, and then while he's there, one of the other lifeguards that he works with in this episode, Steve, is also with him, and then this little boy named Dougie basically, well, first he's telling this little girl that he's with in the episode that he doesn't want to go in the water because he thinks there's monsters in there. Now that I've gotten into that segment, I just want to mention this episode will reference the episode in season 1 where Billy was afraid of fish kind of thing because of the water, because, fish are in water and stuff. I just wanted to mention that before I continued. Anyway, basically, Dougie explains to the little girl that he's with that he doesn't want to go in the water because he thinks that there's monsters in there, but then the girl assures him that Angel Grove is protected by the Power Rangers and they won't let anything happen. Any monsters attack Angel Grove while they're around. And then basically, she basically tries to get Dougie to go in the water with him, but he says that he wants to stay on land where it's safe. And then basically what happens is now I'm gonna kind of get into this segment. Well, there's a segment with Bulk and Skull in this episode that I'm gonna cover, which, if I'm remembering correctly, I think the segment with Bulk and Skull might come after the Zedd segment, like the segment where Zedd talks. Anyway, continuing on where I was with Rocky, he's trying to get Dougie to go into the lake, but Dougie tells him that he doesn't want to go because of the monsters in the lake waters, and then Rocky tells Dougie that basically he's lived in Angel Grove his whole life, and he's never seen any monsters in the lake. And then Dougie tells Rocky that he wants to stay on land where it's safe. And that he's never encountered any monsters under the water before. And then that's what sparks the thing with Zedd, because what happens is that's like, "So, Red Ranger, you've never encountered underwater monsters before? Well, the tide is about to turn." Oh my god. And then when Goldar overhears that segment of it, he's like, "What?" And then he asks his master, "What tide?" Because he's like, "What tide?" And then Zedd explains that the word tide he says that it was a metaphor, you ignorant little twit, you sea-brain, for my latest scheme. Now, basically what he's going to do, at least for the beginning segment of this episode, is he's going to bring back all of the water-based monsters that the Rangers fought previously, but then at the ending segment, he's going to create a new monster, basically. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. Getting back into it, now I'm gonna actually get into the segment with Bulk and Skull here. I didn't backtrack, but the segment with Bulk and Skull actually comes in handy. It comes, I believe, before the Tube Monster was created, because of the fact that it's created that way. So that's why I skipped it for now, but now I'm gonna cover it. Basically what happens is Bulk figures out that the Power Rangers must show up whenever a monster attacks, and so they decide to basically disguise themselves as a sea monster in order to hopefully draw the Rangers out. And then when Dougie sees that, basically he tells Steve about it, and then Rocky and the others go to the water and then when they see Bulk and Skull, they get a little upset. First Bulk gets a little upset because the Power Rangers were supposed to show up to stop the monster, which was them. And then basically what happens is, after that, what basically happens is Rocky is telling Bulk and Skull that they shouldn't have hold such a dangerous, nothing like that, pretending to be a monster and stuff. And then Billy explains that basically they're lucky the Power Rangers didn't show up, because they probably wouldn't like to be called out if it wasn't a real emergency and stuff. And basically, and then the Rangers go back to the shoreline sorry, I'm just overheating in this. Okay, note to self. One moment. Okay, note to self. Next time, take the sweater off before I start recording. Ugh. There we go. It's overheating in this. Anyway, now getting back into it. Oh, by the way, if you saw that in the video, I completely apologize. I was wearing my sweater when I began recording this video, and I started sweating in it, so I had to take it off. So if you guys saw that segment in the video there, I completely apologize for that. Maybe what I'll do next time is I'll make sure to take my sweater off before I start recording. That way you guys don't have to see that in the video next time. But I just wanted to apologize right now about that if you saw that in the video. But anyway, getting back into the actual segment with the episode, when Rocky and the others return to the shoreline, Dougie is telling them, did they manage to catch the monster that was in the lake? And then Rocky explains that there was no monster, it was just Vulcan's skull. And then it goes into the segment where Zedd is, and then oh yeah, I already covered the segment that where yeah, I think I already mentioned the part where the sphere of fish gets referenced. Anyway, Zedd decides that now is the perfect time to send some old fish monsters back to destroy the Rangers. And Goldar's wanting to bring some back himself, but Zedd is telling Goldar that they need real monsters and that Angel Grove's past is littered with ferocious creatures. Like, now is that, like he tells Goldar that now it, having trouble. I'm not having trouble remembering, it's just, I have a bit of a minor headache also when I'm recording this. Anyway, continuing on with what I was saying, he tells Goldar that he's gonna bring, tells Goldar, Angel Grove's past is littered with terrifying creatures from the deep. I call for two now. And basically the two monsters that he brings back, one of them is the Parantis head monster from the 3-part episode. So in the first 3 episodes of this season, and the second one that he brings back is the Goofish monster from season 1 that Rita created, which then she also used that spell, which made Billy so afraid that he wanted the fish to stay away. I'm just referencing that because the Goofish is brought back in this episode. And there will be a lot of fish monsters in the main segment of this episode before the ending segment that are brought back from season 1. So I'll probably be mentioning them a lot. And also, now that I've gotten into that segment, this is technically the second last time monsters from the Rangers past will come back. I didn't actually count the episode where they fought the Trumpet Top, because those monsters weren't real, they were in their minds. So technically those ones didn't really count. However, in my personal perspective, I'm just getting this personal part out of the way, I do count this episode and the episode that was the Halloween episode that was before the Ninja Encounter 3-part episode, I mean. I just wanted to get that out of the way there. Anyway, when the monsters are brought back, that's when the alarm in the command center goes off, and then Zordon has Alpha contact the Rangers, and then they answer him on their communicators, and then basically and then they're wondering what the situation is, and then Zordon is explaining to the Rangers that Zedd has brought some old fish monsters back that the Rangers defeated that are causing havoc on the beach at Angel Grove. And so, because of that, the Rangers decide that they have to morph to their Ranger forms in order to deal with the fish monsters. Well, first what actually happens is Rocky gets the message on his communicator, and then after he gets it, because he doesn't want to arouse suspicion by leaving his post prematurely, so I'd say that because there's a second lifeguard. So what he basically does is, before he morphs, what first happens is Rocky answers Zordon on his communicator, and then Zordon explains to him about some fish monsters that have appeared just outside of Angel Grove Lake, in the vicinity where he is. So he tells Rocky to check it out, and then basically what happens is, Rocky does go to do that, but at the same time, in order to not arouse suspicion, he asks the other lifeguard, Steve, who's there to watch his post for him while he goes to check on the situation with the fish monsters, which tactically makes sense because of, in a retrospect, it makes sense because if there's 2 lifeguards, personally, I'm just getting a little personal information with the episode out of the way, because it makes sense, because if there's 2, then the second one can cover for the other one while the other one's away. And before he leaves, he tells Dougie to listen to what Steve has to tell him and to stay safe. So then he basically morphs to his Ranger form to deal with the fish monsters, and then he starts fighting them, and then later on the rest of the Rangers show up. And then, first, after he starts fighting the Piranha's Head and Goofish monsters, that's when the Rangers show up, and then Zedd decides to send in some more fish-based monsters, which in this case are Commander Crayfish, and the Slippery Shark monster, basically, which were both monsters from season 1. And then the Rangers continue dealing with all of the fish monsters, and then they manage to beat them, and then that's when Zedd gets a little upset that all his fish monsters were beaten, and then that's when he decides to send a new monster down, because he gets a little annoyed that the Rangers beat them. And the monster that he sends down that's a new one it's kind of funny in an ironic way, because what happens is Goldar asks his master that he's gonna send down a new monster to deal with the Rangers, and then that's when Zedd's like, "That's right, Lame Brain, I've had it with fish." So he basically creates a new monster called the Tube Monster from the inner tube that Bulk and Skull were using in the episode to try to get to land. And basically what happens is, after he creates the tube monster, he makes it grow using his potion, and then that's when the Rangers see that the tube monsters, this is after they've defeated all those fish monsters, and that's when the Zordon tells them about the tube monster showing up, and then basically, and since it's grown to gigantic size, they have to fight it in the Megazord now, and then basically what happens is, while they're getting to where the tube monster is, when the tube monster is first created and grown to a large size by Zedd, he says that tube monster destroy, which is basically because he's smashing buildings and such. And then basically what happens is, after Zordon tells the Rangers that they have to deal with the tube monster that shows up, they summon their Zords, and then basically what happens is after that, they fight the tube monster, and they manage to beat it. And then Zedd gets upset that he lost to the Rangers again, and then basically what happens is, after he lost the battle, like he said that, oh, I hope I never see a fish again, because of the fish monsters and his tube monster being defeated. He doesn't like fish. And then this is going to sound kind of funny in an ironic way, because it's going to be funny because of what happens, because he's like, oh well, he tells his minions, oh well, what's for lunch, you ninnies? And then Goldie's like, lunch? Leg trout armandine, which is basically fish. And then Zedd gets upset. He's like, you fool, you wanted me fish? Oh. And then he insults them again. And then after that, that's where this segment of the episode stops. And then it goes into a scene where it's near the end of the episode. Bulk and Skull are in the water, and they're trying to get back to shore, but then their legs start cramping up and drowning. And then Dougie sees that, and then he tries to tell Steve about it, but then he decides to go in on his own. And then after he does, he manages to rescue him, and then Steve is, first after Rocky shows up, he's wondering what happened, and then Steve explains that Dougie just saved Bulk and Skull, and then Rocky's surprised by that, and then Dougie says he did, because the reason why Rocky was surprised was that Dougie was the one who managed to save them, and that's when he tells Rocky that he realizes that there's no monsters in the lake at all, and then basically he tells Dougie that he's proud of him, and then Steve also tells Bulk and Skull that basically he thinks that they've caused enough trouble in the lake for one day, and then that causes a laugh, and then that's basically where this episode stops. So if you guys like this video when I post it, just please give this video the real best you guys can. And I will see you guys probably next time for the first part of the Rangers Back in Time 2-part episode, which I will probably maybe post over the long weekend, because the long weekend's coming up, so I might as well get a lot of videos out of the way and stuff. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that segment. But until next time, guys, just please give this video the real best you guys can. And I will see you guys next time for the next videos. And like I always tell you with this series, may the power protect you always.